Peace and blessings, and welcome back to the Heritage Hip Hop Podcast. This episode is brought to you by Transparent Credit Repair, the superheroes of the financial literacy and credit repair world. It's time for us to start opening our wallets and receiving money, then spending money to bills, to debt, and everything that takes income and money outside of your house. If you're looking to do such by fixing your credit and ensuring yourself a path to having more money, the money that you've worked for, please contact Transparent Credit Repair at www.transparentcreditrepair.com, or you can call them at 862-250-5122. Thank you, everybody, for coming back to Heritage Hip Hop. As on this episode, we take you across the waters. That's right, we're going back international, and we're going to Freetown. Don't know what that is? We're going to Sierra Leone to talk to the MC and councilwoman of the country, Natasha Beckley. Not only is she a dope MC, she's a beautiful woman with a beautiful message about life and preserving what counts, which is identity, love, and a pursuit of joy and excellence in their lives. Listen, y'all, this is a great interview, and she makes great music. And that's why we're here. So please, take some time to sit back, relax, and enjoy this interview. And I'll come back with the rest of my commentary when it's done.
Peace and blessings, everybody. This is Karev from Heritage Hip Hop. And on the line today, I have somebody who's a statement maker internationally, who music only sums up but so little of her power. Please introduce yourself to the people.
Hello, you made me sound so good. Hello, my name is Natasha Beckley, and I'm from Freetown, Sierra Leone in West Africa.
Now, shout out to West Africa, because anybody who does history and knows about the stories that have come from our people who are colored people, we have family that comes from West Africa to the shores, which makes you our sister, and we extend to you the blessings that the Most High gives to us biblically and collectively in this world. So how are you today?
Amen. I'm doing well, and it's actually good that we continue to bridge the relationship between, Black Americans and, Blacks in Africa, because, the foundation is already there from the triangular slave trade. And, with everything that's going on here in the diaspora for Black men especially, we have to start thinking about, maybe visiting home, and I'm meaning the continent of Africa, and seeing, how best, Black people can establish Africa.
True indeed. I mean, I have a lot of theories and thoughts on what Africa is not rather than what it is, because I don't even believe the original name of the land was Africa. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I think that's something that was taught. And then not only that, I believe people from African descent are what makes up the majority of the world, being that some of our people over here are Native American as taught. But even as you go back further, a lot of the ships from Africa came to do trading, and people stayed here, and that's how we had dark-skinned tribesmen in this country. You know what I'm saying?
The triangular slave trade.
Yeah. Well, at the end of the day, it's all about how the Most High made us a family. And nowadays in this world, family and unity is becoming a major theme. How do you feel about that?
I'm so sorry. You said right now family and what?
Family love and unity is a major theme in the world right now. How do you feel about that?
With everything going on, the unexpected, spread of the COVID-19, and it's just showing that there was something missing. Maybe we were so busy in our day-to-day lives, because a lot of people will say that COVID has interfered in their businesses, but you can see that even though it did, it brought a lot of families together. So now during this COVID time, a lot of, immediate family members are finding the importance of getting to know their children, getting to understand their wives, reaching out to those that are very close to them. Like, of course, we've not been able to go anywhere. Everybody's been indoors, but you can call, your mother, call your father, your brothers and sisters, your cousins, just to check up on them. And on the average, people were so caught up in their lives, their busy schedules. Nobody was doing that. So I think 2020 has been a rude awakening for not only rest in peace to all the lives that have been lost, over 200,000 people, but yet again it's brought so many people together. So there's kind of like a win-lose situation with COVID-19. So it's extremely important, and I think moving forward we're going to see a lot more unity happening because I'm actually in America. Because of COVID, I was unable to go back to Sierra Leone, so I've been in Virginia for almost 4 months. So I had no plans of being here. I only came here for 5 days for after International Women's Day. I was in Argentina, so I said, let me stop by and see my family in Virginia, and then I'm going to go back. And then I come find out that I have to be here for an extra 4 months. Nothing that was planned. So you see people unifying in different forms, blacks and whites coming together. Look at all the protests that have been going on around the world, after the death of George Floyd. So, everything happening now was needed. It's just unfortunate that a virus had to bring everybody together.
Yeah, I believe that 100%, and you're right. So COVID has done a lot of damage to the world. But COVID also, and I don't want to sound insensitive when I say this, COVID actually sat people down to have them appreciate the little things in life. So it was some positives that came out of it. And one of those positives I want to focus on with you is, being that COVID came and people actually had to sit down, it gave us people who love music the time to sit down and really learn, appreciate, and hear not only the beats, but the stories of the people telling, the rhythm, who they are. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And then being introduced to you, I learned a whole lot of things. We could talk about a whole lot of things, but one thing that I realized when I heard and saw you, everybody's going to talk about how beautiful you are, so let's get out the way. Everybody, she's gorgeous. You can look up herself, okay? But besides that, I got to hear passion from you. What makes your passion so lively instead of being just representative?
Okay, so I started off any rapper maybe will say they started off as a poet. Maybe I'll say old school rappers, because poetry is the foundation for just lyrics, period. So when I was young, I used to slam all the time. Being that I came from Africa and I moved to America, there were so many things that I didn't learn about Africa until I came to America. I started understanding that I was black, and a lot of people, because a lot of people looked at me. 1 second, please. A lot of people looked at me different, because I was African as well. So I got to tap into words. I got to tap into words to be able to get the message out. So that's how music really started for me. So during this COVID time, I started writing. Finished my EP. My EP was almost done, but I finished my EP during this past 4 months, and then I'm getting ready to put it out. So music now in COVID has been it's been a really good time for me to focus on my craft. I'm sorry, I have nieces and they hear me on the interview. I'm trying to tell them to.
It's all good.
But they want to play now, and I'm like, no, it's not the time to play.
Well, that's all good. But what you said was very impactful, and I want to unpack that. Coming to America, you were given a designation that was regular somewhere else. And then you were also giving an origin place. So America took you from being God's creation woman into making you a black woman and then an African woman, which is a robbery. But thank God that you did your poetry, because you had one poem. I forgot the name of it. I apologize, because I'm all over the place today as well. But in your poem, it's like you're talking to a woman, and you're talking about culture. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. See, I wrote a book of 300 poems, and being in America, I focus on so many. So I used to slam back in the day, and I got a full scholarship to go to college because of slam poetry. So so many poems, just talking to you is bringing it back. I spoke of being a black woman. I spoke of identifying myself, because being a poet, you have to read. So I got into reading from the, W.E.B. Du Bois, from the Frederick Douglass to the Native Son by Richard Wright. So all these books, formed this lady that was now not only learning about the African struggle, but now the African-American struggle. So it just created this, this lady, this woman that was African African for real, American. And, I say African for real, African American. And that's how, that I remember so many poems, even talking to you, like I'm getting flashbacks and, lyrics are coming in my head of things that I did before. And America was a big part of my identity of who I am as a woman and who I am as a black woman, who I am as an African woman. So, America played that part.
I wish I could have met you when you did those poetry sessions. and the reason why is because this. Everybody who knows about heritage hip hop knows, women in music and women who perform to me are like the height of womanhood for me, because there's a confidence that the world cannot take from you because you're finally getting to be free and we see the real you. Was there ever a you that was hidden that poetry and hip hop brought out of you that you kept to yourself?
So poetry brought out rap. I was just thought about it. It was like, they enforced upon their culture and enforced upon their religion. We didn't have the rights to create our own future because it wasn't our decision. They crossed the oceans with a plan to bring civilization, but committed the worst crimes beyond human imagination. Yeah, we fought for our rights and we fought for our freedom, but we gave in to the whites and were enslaved in our own kingdom. See, we were locked up in chains. We worked in all weathers in the hailstorms and rains. We were beaten on our turns. I just started thinking about that just now as I was talking to you, and I wrote that in 2000 maybe. Can you imagine 20 years ago? 20 years ago? 20 years ago. And I just started thinking about that. But poetry started now in 2000 and maybe after 50 Cent came out with Get Rich or Die Trying. I started, rapping to his instrumentals. I just loved, I grew up Mobb Deep. So a lot of people found it weird because I was already in Africa listening to Mobb Deep. You see, this is the Africa that people don't know about. Hip-hop or arts and culture, they speak to people all around the world. So growing up, I was a Tribe Called Quest girl. I was a Lost Boys. A lot of people still don't even know about that. I was a Lost Boys, Mr. Cheeks girl. I used to listen to Rakim. Tupac, of course, he came to South Africa before he died. Lost Boys had a show in South Africa, I think in 96 or something like that. And I was really excited about that. And I grew up with all of that. So when 50 Cent came out with Get Rich or Die Trying, I started now converting the poems into freestyles. So I started, kicking back a little bit from just writing, now I started writing to instrumentals. I started writing to beats. And then in 2007, I started incorporating my language into it. My brother's a DJ, and he was like, stop writing in English so much. Try to see if you can connect back to Africa. See if people in Africa, because they listen to hip hop too. That Foxy Brown, that Lil Kim. Try to see if you can connect to young girls back there and hip hop lovers over there. So that's what, that was the hidden part. I think I was so scared because, in Africa, women don't rap. It's not a good thing, but it's not the most proud thing for a parent to say, my daughter's a rapper. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's used to your daughter being a politician or, a teacher, an engineer, a scientist or something, that you could be proud of, because we are by merits. Our parents are proud of us by merit. So I couldn't rap. So I stuck to poetry for so long because I was so ashamed of what if I was to shame my parents by rapping? So that's, that was that. So poetry brought that out really, and I stopped writing in 2007. I stopped writing poems, and I just stuck to freestyles. I just stuck to instrumentals. Started buying beats,
Aren't your parents proud of you now?
Now oh my God, my dad, he, whenever you go to the house now, he can't stop playing my music. He plays my music all the time, and I was like, Dad, stop. I also am a politician.
That's great. But you know something? I was talking to Justin Hunt, who's like the company man. He's big in the hip hop circles, and he's great when it comes to media. And then on one of our interviews, he said something that was very articulate that I want you to express about and on. He said, hip hop is the hardest genre of music because it uses the most vocabulary. And the reason why I wanted to really get into heritage hip hop was to show the depth and the intelligence of our people, that even though mainstream media always wants to play us in negative light, whether it's sex, drugs, murder, killing, or whatever. There are people who do hip hop that are so intelligent that not only are they capable of being community leaders, world leaders, politicians, but they're able to move the needle in a positive direction when it comes to society. What does that make you think about when I tell you something like that?
Just rephrase your question one more time. I want to make sure that I get to your question. You said, rephrase your question one more time.
I want to know what do you think of that phrase, that with hip hop being difficult because it is the most wordy and it's the hardest of the genres, and I also say that it is the genre that shows the depth, the emotional depth, and the depth of character and the depth of education that you have, because you're able to push society forward with your words and how you put them to music. How do you feel about that?
I agree with what you're saying. That's one thing I wanted to make sure I understood this, because this is a very important question. Sometimes, we think that going to school is all the education that you need, and sometimes just being an observant individual is just good enough to be able to get you to think. Hip hop gives you you have to not live it, but you have to understand it to be able to properly articulate it or properly connect to writing about certain issues. Reading, I just spoke to you about some books that I was reading that that would spark my brain, and as soon as after reading from these authors, I would immediately start writing, because my brain, like, I was feeding myself knowledge. Coming from Africa, being here, now I had firsthand experience of what I was reading. I had an experience of racism. I had an experience of seeing black people trying to make it. I had experience of seeing a mother trying to provide, parents trying to provide. So you living it and you learning more about it just gives you enough information to talk about it. Sometimes we say you got to be about that life to tap into that emotion at that time. To tap into that emotion at that time. And, right now with everything going on, you see maybe a lot of rappers want to write about, the black rights movement, about civil rights movement, or about, just Black Lives Matter. But they can't, because number one, their circle and how they surround themselves is not even in that uplifting, empowering kind of state. So you have to be in that mindset. You have to be in that surrounding to be able to speak about it. I'm not talking about getting money, fast cars, and all of that. That's an imagination that you can get to, because that's a dream. But we're talking about, the emotion, the depth, the root of, how wordplay. You have to be in that right mindset. You either have to read it, you have to live it, or experience it to be able to capture it.
Exactly. And part of the beauty of music is not only does it introduce you to different voices, it also takes you to different places. And one place that you took me to is Freetown. Please describe and give everybody who's going to listen to this, what is Freetown and what does it mean to you?
Oh my God, Freetown. So just small history about Freetown. Freetown is for free slaves. When slavery was, over, ending, the British gave the free slaves the opportunity to go back to Africa. So they went to Freetown. But now, because, in the African entertainment industry, Sierra Leone is not doing so well. We have a lot of entertainers that are very popular in Sierra Leone, but we're trying to cross borders. We're trying to, get to the American scenery. We're trying to make sure that even people in Africa know who we are. So anytime I travel to different places or I get in the studio, a lot of people get so like, where's she from? She sounds so American. Where's she from? She sounds so American. Where's she from? She sounds so, maybe Kenyan. They pick somewhere else. But then even though I'm a part of everywhere else, I'm from Freetown. So I got in the studio once, and a lot of people were just asking, where's she from? Where's she from? And I just kept on saying Freetown, 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 Freetown. So when I heard the beat, I just said, where I'm from, Freetown, Upper Dawn, Freetown. So that's really how that song came about. But Freetown is for free slaves, and Freetown is really one of those cities because Freetown is the capital of Sierra Leone. Freetown is one of those cities that, you know, played a big part in, we had the first university in West Africa, you know, so that played a part in just, you know, educating the black West African and educating a lot of people that came from the Nova Scotias, from, you know, South Carolina, the Geechee, you know, Freetown. So that's how, you know, that's how that song came about. You know, where I'm from, Freetown.
That's dope. And the thing about this song, Freetown, because the Freetown song is dope. It's fire. I love the song. You know what I'm saying?
Thank you.
But the thing that makes an artist and the song last long is the ability to touch the people. And you had the Freetown Challenge. What was it like to create something and to see it take a life of its own where other artists wanted to join in and represent where they're from?
So I didn't even think it was gonna like get so many people to, you know, to participate. So we got like over 200, and we just people sending in instrumentals or whatever. And so, you know, the beat, people like, you know, just representing where you're from. A lot of people in the diaspora. So, you know, people that move back, just educating the listeners. People that move back out of, you know, a place to somewhere else, the diaspora, because they settle somewhere else. So a lot of Sierra Leoneans in the American diaspora and the United Kingdom diaspora fell in love with the song because they haven't been back home in years. So they kept on saying, where I'm from, Freetown, Appadone, Freetown, get that money, hit the city, then I'm gone, Freetown. Because that's what we do. That's our culture. We come, we make money, and we go home. We come, we make money, and we go home. We come, we make money, and we go home. So it was able to get people from other African countries, the Caribbean, to, you know, identify with that because we come because we are maybe refugees. We were displaced in our country. We come to find better refuge, and then we go back home. So that was really what Freetown was all about. You know, and people fell in love with it, and I put the instrumental out, and people started rapping on it.
Yeah, you did your thing on that one because that's a classic. That's one of them songs that we're going to talk about 50, 60 years from now because songs that give you pride, songs that give you a representation of a place, it's amazing. Like when we talk about KRS-One, we always talk about the bridge is over, right? They always talk about that in history.
Definitely, yes.
When you talk about Nas, you talk about Queen.
Mobb Deep, you talk about
Mobb Deep,
you know
exactly, Shook One. So when they talk about Natasha Beckley, they're going to talk about Freetown. You see?
Wow.
And that's the goal. Every artist wants to hit, but you've hit it phenomenally. So salute to you.
Oh man, thank you so much. Thank you so much. That makes me feel so good.
Well, now the song's dope. Thank you for making it. You know what I'm saying? But even that, Freetown doesn't really show your vast wordplay. Because Corley, let's talk about that one now. Now, movement, wordplay, beat structure, and writing the beat. You have the ability to not just rap. You have the ability to make the track rock to you, where the beat sounds like it needs your voice to be hot. How did you find your voice when you started rapping or in your style?
Oh, so finding your voice in rap, the foundation is through poetry. So, you know, written a lot of poems, and I got the opportunity written a lot of poems. So I used to stand in the mirror. All the time. And, you know, I used to rap in the mirror. I used to talk to myself in the mirror. So that really set the tone of my voice. So whenever I hear a beat, even though I'm a female rapper, I know how to, you know, jump on the beat. I know when to raise my voice, when to lower my voice, you know, how to really get on the beat. So when I heard the beat for Corley, actually, I didn't go to the studio for Corley. I went to the studio just to work on random beats. So the producer was like, oh, I have this one beat. And then I just said Corley. You know, Corley in Freetown means watch. It means watch. It means watch me. So when I heard it, I said Corley. And they were like, I was in Nigeria at that time. And they were like, what's Corley? And I was like, it means watch. And the producer said, let's go. And I just started brand new things for the summer. Corley, for the hot boys in the corner. Corley. You know, so that's really how that came about. But, you know, Corley, I did that because I wanted to just get my audience ready for something danceable because I'm a rapper. You know what I'm saying? I don't want when I'm ready to drop that heat, they start thinking, oh, she doesn't have any dance tracks, or she doesn't have any dance tracks or whatever. So, so for Corley was just, something to get them in, but we got some heat dropping. So that's going to be, that's what you need to be watching out for.
All right, that's dope. But yeah, you gotta be well-rounded. Being a well-rounded artist means, KRS-One said, a rapper raps to you about their life, but an MC can rap to you about your own life.
Right.
And
ooh, I like that.
And with the music that you've been making, whether you're dancing or you're representing where you're from, that brings the heart of the listener over to the artist. I'm going to be honest with you. You know what I love when I fell in love with you as an artist?
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't just the music that you did that was moving, about where you're from. The song True Love is what got me into you. Okay?
Oh, okay. Oh, that song.
Right. I want you to talk about the song True Love and who are you directing that to?
So when I wrote that, I was just thinking about all the hurt. I I put so many relationships together to write that. I picked the good from here, I picked the good from here, I picked the bad from here, the good from here. And as you said, as an artist, everything is how you feel. We can tap into somebody else's feelings, but most importantly, we tap into our own feelings. And I probably wrote that song in about maybe 15 minutes or, after listening to the beat. And I just tapped into it, and I picked out the good and the bad from every relationship, and I just started writing it, and that was that. That's how we got that song, and that's how I wrote that song in 2014. And I just tapped into different relationships, and, I just poured my heart out, what was good. And, being a woman is extremely difficult. Sometimes or especially a popular woman, because I was a former Miss Sierra Leone. So I went to Miss World for Sierra Leone, and, a lot of people will probably say, oh, I like Natasha, but, she's maybe a little bit too popular. But it'd be really the ones that are extremely popular. They're looking for something that's, mild, something that's, a place to call home and just lay down and forget about everything else. So with True Love, I just picked out from every relationship, good or bad, and I just wrote about it. And, that's how that song came out.
Yeah, that song is, I think that song right there is what made me really go, wow, she's deep. You know what I'm saying? Like, before, like I said, man, I'm a lover of music. So, I don't really, if you could rap, that's good, but that don't impress me because people in the corner over here can rap. It's the spirit in the song and the message I get from it that really makes me feel something. And that song really spoke to me. So I wanted to ask you, what's the easier or most meaningful song for you to write? One out of joy or one out of pain?
Oh my God, this is deep. What is easier to write? One out of joy or one out of pain? I'll say the one out of joy is easier to write because sometimes, as with writer's block especially, when you want to write the truth of how you're feeling, sometimes you need to change. Your mood changes, and it takes you away from. You have to be away from everything to be able to, just speak, write your truth. So the one out of joy, we could all be together and vibing and, understanding each other, and the words just pan out easily. The words just start to flow easily. So the one out of joy, you probably are in the studio, you see one or two people like, oh, that's a banger, that's a hit. One or two people like jump into it, and then, the words just start to flow a lot more easier. But the one out of pain, that's really your truth. That's really, you trying to connect with the audience, or you trying to connect with whoever you're speaking to. When they listen to it directly, they know she's talking to me or she's talking about me. Just like these love songs. Sometimes we've heard a lot of love songs. That's one thing, 90s R&B artists were able to do. Jodeci will sing a song right now, and every woman in the world will think, oh, no, that song is for me. This particular song is for me. Because, you have to tap into the livelihood of that person at that time, where they're thinking, they're listening to the words and thinking at that time. Genuine used to sing songs, and, everybody thought it was for us. You know what I'm saying? But the
Mhm.
dance songs, you could just come up with that, really easy. And the happy songs, those are very easy because you can steal the energy from different people. But one that connects to people, you have to find that energy within yourself.
Facts. That's why growing up, I never got into R&B music because I couldn't relate to it. You see what I'm saying?
Okay. Okay.
Because as a man, you always heard about the man sing about the girl he wanted, but then when you hear the women talked about how the man hurt them. So
Tony
for me,
Braxton,
right.
Brandy, Monica.
So for me, it was very uneven because as a man, I always wanted the pretty girl, but I didn't want the girl to refer to me as something so negative. You know what I'm saying? So I couldn't
I
relate.
don't want no scrubs. Scrubs is not gonna get no love from me.
Hey, that never was me, but I got
had a lot of her songs. Trust me.
Yeah. And see, touching that and talking about the pain and the joy, and like you said, you were Miss Sierra Leone, so you got to travel the world and see a lot of people's stories. What was the main thing that you picked up from traveling the world that when you took home, you said, damn, all of us are just about alike? What was that lesson?
I think with that, you have to appreciate every day. It doesn't matter what your story is or situation. Just know that there is somebody living 10 times as worse than your situation. So I think that was one of the things that I'll take away from traveling so much. I don't take anything that's big, anything too big. Try not to envy the lives of others as well, because you don't know the source of wealth. And you never know the source of wealth, and just and be happy and try your best to be happy in your condition or your situation so you're able to change it. Because I've literally worked in situations or volunteered as a former miss in situations where getting 15 cents a day or 10 cents a day was an issue. Like for families, 10 cents a day is an issue. Getting 10 cents a day is an issue. 10 cents a week is an issue. Extreme poverty. I've been in situations where we turn the lights on. We've seen kids in the 7th, 6th grade see electricity for the first time. For the first time. And I've been in situations where, first of all, these kids are not even thinking about getting running water or knowing how a faucet will run, like maybe for the next 10 years. That's when that kind of development will reach their areas, knowing how to turn on a faucet or something like that. So just traveling just made me appreciate more, who I am, how far I've come, and what I plan on achieving in the future. And I just hope anybody listening to this podcast gets that as well. Like, I know sometimes we have bad days. Sometimes you think like everything sucks, like, oh my God, but let me tell you, there's some situations where it gets worse. Like, some people have it worse. So that's, one thing I could take from being a miss. That was one of the biggest lessons I had to learn early. And I was a miss, not only Miss Sierra Leone in Sierra Leone, I was Miss Sierra Leone in America as well. So I've been a miss for Sierra Leone maybe from my early 20s till I was maybe 25, 26. From 18 to 25, 26, I was winning different competitions from Sierra Leone. I went to Miss Africa and I came second for Sierra Leone. I was the first Black Miss University of Virginia College at Wise, which is a school here in Virginia. So I've been doing pageantry for a long time. So just, one thing I could say is just appreciate your situation no matter how bad you think it is.
Word. I'll respect that. And see, pageant life to me as a man, everybody looks at pageant life as, the girls are pretty and they just come up and talk. Like I said, everybody's going to see your pictures. They're going to know you're gorgeous as far as how you look. But the thing that made you so dope to me as a person was the fact that you go out to do your best for people. And that's the real beauty of spirituality within you. You see what I'm saying? It was prophesied in the 90s, and even some people argue this about biblical prophecy, that these times that we're in were prophesied to come because of the end of the 400 years. And with that, we've seen women come full front and show, nah, we strong, true, we got voices, and sometimes we even better than y'all men, so y'all need to shut up and hear what we got to say. You see what I'm saying? And in this time of unity, of getting together, and family, solidarity, we see that not only is the music and the mind coming together, but it's the side of God that people have been shutting out, and that's the caring and the gentleness of it. What do you think is society's biggest flaw when it doesn't hear the female or the woman's side of the story?
You know, for pageantry, let me just, get into that. I started doing pageants because I wanted a stage for poetry. Mm-hmm. There was nobody was, willing to listen. Nobody wanted to listen. So, I figured out I was winning the pageants and people actually listened to me as a poet. I had to be a beauty queen for them to listen to me as a poet because I wanted a stage so bad. And, I wanted to go back to Sierra Leone and do so well, but, being a beauty queen maybe opened the doors for that and people would listen to you. Society has placed, this self-hate, created a system of self-hate, especially for black women, because even in pageantry, a lot of people will look at it like, oh, it's all glitz and glamour. But you should know that the darkest women in pageants aren't always the most successful women, because the world is looking for maybe, a more subtle look, which is maybe a little lighter skinned, more, a little, so dark girls find it so difficult to also prove a point that I am equally as beautiful, equally as intelligent, and equally as driven as all the women on this stage. Mm-hmm. So that authentic blackness becomes something that that is looked down upon, even on a platform that everybody thinks the women are not too articulate. And secondly, coming from somebody that went to Miss World, I can tell you that all the women that go to Miss World have a first degree. Majority have a first degree, a second degree, or they are, they are professionals, maybe as doctors, engineers, or dentists. But because they look pretty, nobody looks at what they can offer. Nobody looks at what they can do for society. Everybody just looks at, oh yeah, you're a pretty woman. I guess that's all you know how to do is to, wear clothes, beautiful dresses on stage. And I'm just telling you now, I only did pageants because I wanted a stage. I wanted a stage for poetry, but most importantly, I started connecting back to Sierra Leone. And I left Sierra Leone when I was 6. I started connecting back to Sierra Leone, and I needed a stage to, to just do something for girls. And that's how everything started, providing scholarships. Because at that time, when I won Miss Sierra Leone in 2008, to educate a girl child for a year was $6 for a year. It was $6. So my friends were playing professional football at that time. I had when I mean professional football, I mean soccer. They were playing professional soccer at that time, and we were able to, give full high school scholarships. Not just, we're going to pay for 1 year. We took 86 girls for all their high school career, and we paid for it all the way. So we were, so now sometimes I'm in Sierra Leone, and I have random girls run up to me, Miss Beckley, oh my God, thank you so much. Because of you, I was able to, complete high school. So, I'll just cry because they're just thinking about $6. It didn't even cost us much. It was just $6 per year. It was $6 per year. So it was $24 for 4 years of high school. 24 for 4 years. And some parents couldn't pay that, so their daughters could not go to school for that.
Well, like I said earlier, that's the depth of hip-hop that people don't understand because, unfortunately, like you said, if you're pretty to somebody, Western civilization has always been, if it look good, it must be good. And that's how we get into colorism, racism, and all this other stuff. Not saying that, like beauty is in the eye of the beholder and attractiveness is in the affection of the eye. You see what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, loving people for the creation that they are makes everything in life that much better because then we can see what I give to you and what you give to me and how we create God and making society. Because through socialness, we show the embodiment of the fruits of the spirit. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
Word.
But I'm looking forward to, connecting with you because we would love to invite you to Sierra Leone. Don't think we're just going to do an interview and we're going to end it there. I want you to come to Sierra Leone and, I want you to, so when you come to Sierra Leone, just, if you could get your plane ticket, everything is on me when you get to Sierra Leone. You don't have to worry about a place to stay. You don't have to worry about a car. You don't have to worry about what you eat in. Just know that, whenever you want to come to Sierra Leone, you got a place to stay. So, and I think, young hip-hop lovers or young rappers, a community host, they would love the interaction. They would love the knowledge that you're bringing in for them to see that, your condition you may think that this is your condition, but just know that, we are all global citizens and we're all working together through hip-hop to tell our stories. So, I would love for, you to bring the Heritage Podcast down to Sierra Leone. And, the invitation is open. You're more than welcome to come.
I'm going to take you up on that offer. It's COVID got us sitting in one spot right now. But my goal is to take Heritage Hip Hop global, is because hip hop is a global community. I always ask this question, and since you said that, I'm going to bring it to you. How do you define hip hop, and what is it to you?
Hip hop is a culture.
Mm-hmm.
Hip hop is a wow. This is defining hip hop as a culture. I can't explain it because it's a feeling. It's something. It's something I could just see little kids just dancing, on the side of the street. I could see, just people. It's a connection. It has no barriers. It has no language. It's beats. It's drums. It's instruments. It's instruments and words and how it feeds the soul. That, how long it's taking you to define hip hop. That's what hip hop is. Hip hop is a connection. Look at something like when Pop Smoke died.
Yeah.
I was so heartbroken because I love Pop Smoke, and my cousins from France, they don't speak English. They don't speak English so well, and they were talking to me. They were like, yeah, we're so sad Pop Smoke died. And I was like, right. But they couldn't understand exactly what Pop Smoke was talking about. They couldn't understand the words that were coming out of his mouth, but they understood the rhythm. They understood the beat. They understood how, how it flowed. So hip-hop hip-hop raises children. Hip-hop is a parent. It's the extra parent. It's like the other parent, the other auntie. I'm trying to think what exactly hip-hop is. Hip-hop is that other parent that's helping parents raise their children.
Nice.
It's that uncle that you look up to, like, that you will ask a question, and that uncle that is always cooler than your parents. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yes, that's just what it is. It's just that uncle that's always cooler than, that's going to say, listen to this. Come here right quick. How you feel about this? How does this make you feel? That uncle that just loves you unconditionally, or that grandma, and you're never wrong. Like, you're never wrong. You're never wrong. You know what I'm saying? It's just that grandma's love, like that. It feeds your soul. It feeds you, and that's what hip hop is. I'm trying to tell you. Yeah, that's what.
I mean, hip hop can be defined so many ways, and yours encompass the feeling, the joy, the family, and that's great. We're gonna leave it right there because.
But you should see me smiling as I defined it. Like,
I heard it. Like, I felt the joy when you explained it.
I'm smiling because I've never been asked that before, and my teeth are all out, like, excited. Like, I'm like, it really is that grandma, like that. That's just like, come here, baby. What's wrong? You know what I'm saying? That's what it is.
I mean, that's what, like I said, that's the purpose of Heritage Hip Hop. It's to show we're more than just a music. We are people. We are a culture. We are connected. And that connection is living. Just like they said, the Most High is the God of the living, which means he never ever will die because life will always continue and righteousness is eternal life. So then if he's living and if the hip hop is living, there's nothing that could take it away. It will always evolve and grow with us. We will be hip hop from when we're born and we'll be hip hop even beyond our passing. You see what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And that's why I celebrate you as a woman, as an artist, as a representative for your country, council, all that, because you are the embodiment of hip hop. Because you went from a person who came into the world fresh as a brand new blank slate that has grown into a person of purpose and a person who purposely leads others through her example. So before anybody else gets to say that, I want to say thank you for all that you have done so far, and being that your life is not over, I cannot wait to read the chapters in your book before you close it.
Thank you so much, and I can't wait for us to stay connected so that we can see what we could do for Sierra Leone.
No problem.
Let's just let COVID give us a chance to plan, if COVID is ever going to give us a chance to plan.
Well, it definitely is doing that, and with the unified enemy in the world right now, I think people are finally getting focused, and we're seeing the real power of united voices versus a common foe. You know.
Yeah. So thank you so much.
Oh, no doubt. So before we have some fun, please give everybody your social media and how they can learn about you more, hear your music, or follow you on social media.
Social on Facebook is Natasha Beckley, and on Instagram is Natasha_Beckley, and so that's where, and on YouTube is also Natasha Beckley. So just if you Google in Natasha Beckley, you're basically gonna find me on all social media platforms, and my EP's dropping in September. So Freetown is the only song, because my EP's called Freetown the Recipe. So, on Freetown the Recipe, and it's the recipe to put Freetown out. It's the recipe to bring my country out, to feed people about my country. So, if you just Google in, Natasha Beckley, Freetown the Recipe, I know that, you'll be able to stream my music on all platforms as well.
Beautiful. I love it. So before we go to the rapid fire questions, I want to say to everybody listening, hip hop is living, as we said, and with living, it has a purpose. So please, listen to Natasha Beckley's music. Stream it. But if you like it, purchase it. Because purchase power guarantees you more music, and it helps her make more changes and influence the world positively. So please, believe in your artists, and show them your belief by putting your money where your interest is, and the more you purchase, the better it is for the culture, yourself, the artists, and the people we all affect and influence with your money. All right?
Exactly.
Now, with that being said, it's time for the rapid fire questions. The rapid fire questions are not yes/no questions. These are questions that show, like I said, the depth in your understanding of not only hip-hop, but life and yourself. Are you ready?
Let's go.
All right. What song or album perfectly defines you and is made by another artist, not yourself?
As I said, 50 Cent, Get Rich or Die Trying.
All right. You a hustler. I like it. All right. Second question. Africa as a continent is the world's most guiltiest secret over its most precious thing. And people in this country of color have always had an affinity for Africa because we never knew about it. But when we learned, it turned us on to it. And Afro beats and all the music that came out of there blew up big over here because the love we have for music and our people. Since you do music on both coasts, what is the most rewarding thing about bridging the coast to you?
The most rewarding thing is just showing the African lifestyle as well, the blend of the African lifestyle and the American lifestyle as well. Just seeing young kids that are born in America or born in different parts of the world from African parents call me saying, Natasha, I love your song, and it just took me back to a place where I'm trying to go. It took me back to a place I've been hearing about. So the most rewarding thing is just, getting people that are not born in Sierra Leone feel connected to my music. So that's been the most rewarding.
Excellent. One thing I like about you as an artist is you have the ability to always represent on any song you're on, right?
Right.
And there's a song that you have with a certain artist named Magneto. Mm-hmm. That song would be called It's a Fact. Mm-hmm. Tell me about the dynamic of being a female on a microphone that could hold it down just as hard as the male, and people will talk about you on that track as well.
That is hilarious. So Magneto is one of the greatest freestyle artists in Africa, I believe. And I've been working with him for a year. He's always saying, Natasha, you're good. Natasha, you're good. I was like, oh my God. So on my way going to Nigeria, I just started thinking about it as a fact, like, just stating the facts about, stating the facts about who I am. And we were in the studio, and I just, he's like, let's work on something. And I was like, Magneto, I've been trying to do it's a fact free. He's like, yo, let's do it. So they dropped the beat, and we were in the studio, and I just thought it was like asking thick, pretty thing. It's a fact, just stating the facts, like and he was coming hard, and I was coming harder, and that's how it's a fact came about. So it's just I'm not in this to compete, but I'm definitely in this to put on. I'm here to make Africa look good. I'm here to make African women look good, and I'm definitely here to make Sierra Leone look good. So that's what It's a Fact is about, stating the facts. So.
And you do, because you did it wonderfully. You represented on that song. That song is really good. So it's Payback, though.
Yeah.
Now, you say there's not too many women that's rhyming, but we got a couple on there. Like, what was that like?
You said there's not a lot of women on where?
You said that there's not a lot of women in Africa that were rapping, but on Payback, it seems there's a lot of women with you on the track. So how did that come about?
Yeah, on Payback. So I was in Nigeria, and we had a lot of other women there too. Nappy Girl and Deska Shell being with Magneto. So Magneto is surrounded by the hardest female MCs. So we were all just we were in the studio, and he was like, it'll be so funny if we came up with a song. And then one of the rappers was like, yeah, well, I'm gonna tie you up. And another rapper was like, well, I'm gonna do this to you. And I was like, God damn, so that's how Payback came about. And he was just shocked, because he probably thought the females would talk about maybe something a little sexy or something a little subtle. And, these are females dressed in all black, like, like, what's good? What's going on? Like, what you trying to do? You know what I'm saying? So, like, that's what happened. But in terms of females in Africa, there are females coming up now. There are a lot of African females coming up, and I can say I'm one of them, new to the scene. And I'm just looking forward to putting on, So, not challenging the men, because, hip-hop is seen as something that the men do, but I'm just trying to say lyrically, I could, head for head, I could step in any book for any man, and let's create good music together.
True indeed. Because, all of y'all made a statement in that video and on that song, and I was very intrigued, Like I said, when you come to Heritage Hip Hop, we do research. We look into that music, because we want to know who we're talking to.
When you hit me with Payback, I was like, Payback? Is he going back to Payback? I was like, that's crazy. I was like, where did he see that? Y'all are the real FBI. Let me tell you, you're the real FBI.
But like I said, I love this culture. So if there's somebody who I really like, even beyond the interview, if I really like your music, I want to know who you are. And like I said, you have my heart already as an artist. I'm going to support you. When that EP drops, I'm buying it. I'm going to give you that love and respect because you gave me something already. You know what I'm saying? That's how I treat the artists I love. You know what I mean?
Thanks so much.
So let's continue. I want to know, in your opinion, what song saves the world, especially right now? Is it a song you made or another artist that you look to?
A song that saves the world right now? You definitely got to take it back maybe to the king of pop. Maybe take it back to Michael Jackson, and or take it back to Bob Marley. But right now, Heal the World is definitely something that, that is needed, because, it's a lot of hurt. 2020 just, opened a lot of wounds, and, you see, not only African Americans and blacks in America are, fighting for this reform, especially for police reform, but you see, different nationalities jumping in to fight, in solidarity with African Americans and their struggles. But not only are you seeing that, you've seen it going on in the Amish community. The Amish community came out in France, in London, in Belgium, in Africa. You got Africans fighting for, we have our own issues, but still fighting for, George Floyd, So there are wounds that is open that we just need to heal. And I think that Michael Jackson, like, you know, he created a masterpiece for us to be able to, you know, to sing along now as we're fighting for just the basic human rights for all humans. Basic human rights for all humans. So Heal the World is definitely the song for the moment.
It's funny how we have to argue about the word basic and matters in today's climate, which is ridiculous.
Just basic. And nobody's asking, just basic. The basic right. Just basic. Basic. Not even asking for anything extra, but basic right. So, you know, Heal the World, Make It a Better Place, definitely is something that's speaking. And the reason why I chose that song is not something that they will know only in, you know, the Americas. They know all around the world. You know, Michael Jackson was that kind of, you know, that kind of father figure to the music industry. So definitely that is a song for right now.
Yeah, imagine if Michael Jackson, Kobe Bryant, Nipsey Hussle, Tupac, and Bob Marley could all sit down at the table with Prince, and it would be amazing in the music right now, you know?
And Biggie, of course, you know what I'm saying? Like, Biggie is there, like, that would be crazy.
It would be amazing.
Maybe they would let Pop Smoke come in and talk.
Okay, hey, why not? Maybe even XXX Tentacion could be there. You never know.
Yeah, I don't know if it's easy gonna let them in, but they might.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, the one thing I don't like about hip hop that really makes me kind of sore is that we have a generational hate in it, where the younger folks will be like, y'all old heads, we don't listen to y'all. Or the older folks will be like, y'all young, we don't listen to y'all. In the Bible, that's called Rehoboamism. Because when Rehoboam got the kingdom of Israel, he didn't listen to the elders, the youth took over, and then out of that hatred, the kingdom was broken apart. And just today, our unity, our society is broken apart through ageism. And hip-hop, I interviewed an artist, and he said, there's no sticker on a hip-hop album that says you have to be this old to listen to this or this young to understand this. And I hate that we do that to each other. You know what I'm saying?
That's very true. So what I try to do is, I got a younger brother. He's 28. So I try to listen to a lot of his music as well. And he makes me listen to a lot of new school music just to be able to, you know, to be able to get into, to be able to, you know, connect. You know, music and hip-hop is all about connection. As you said, there's no age barrier, so you have to be, you know, this is for everybody that's over 50 or this is for everybody that's over 40. But it's just, you know, the moments that speak to you. So I've been watching a lot of the verses, you know, like the Nelly Ludacris, you know, that spoke, you know, it spoke volumes, because back in college, that's what, you know, I was listening to, you know, Andale, Mami, yeah, you know. But a lot of kids will probably find it, you know, something that's like, oh, we didn't listen to that. But, you know, it's all part of the process of learning. You know, you got to learn to know, you know, what you're talking about. You got to learn to know, you got to learn. Look at Pop Smoke. That's new school. He was 21, and I really loved him. You know, I love how confident he was, and you know how maybe it's because I'm a big fan of 50 Cent, so you know he kind of gave me that vibe as well. But you know, I just love how how he commanded presence and stuff like that. You know, so you have the Kendrick Lamar, so you can't just say I only listen to those people. But remember, if you are a real DMX, Rough Riders, these are people that set the Redman and Method Man. You have to know about the history to be able to really, speak about it. And you have to continue to learn about the history to continue the legacy. So that's, it's very important.
I'm glad you said that, because now we're going to ask you our legacy questions. The remix is a part of hip-hop history where we took a song and remade it, and it gave the song extra life, whether we changed the beat or we added new people on the song. So, Natasha Beckley, what is the greatest remix of all time?
The greatest remix. Oh my God. Let me think about this one. What would you give these questions for? Oh my God. Okay. Is this the last question? Because I'm thinking about. Maybe we can go to another one and I'll get back to that.
Okay. No problem. Yeah. We'll come back to it. Mm-hmm. Being that we added people to beats, that's called a feature. When you add somebody on your song, and sometimes the people who you add on your song as a feature can kill the song and make it their song like you did on Payback, right? So
right.
My question is, who has the greatest feature in history to you?
Oh my God. Oh my God. Let's talk about that one. Definitely Renegade with Jay-Z and Eminem.
Okay.
Since I'm in a position to talk to these kids and they listen, I ain't no politician, but let me kick it with them a minute. Like, I love that song. I
Okay.
love that song. And I just will sit down all the time and just listen to M's verse and, listen to how Jay got on there. But, definitely I would say that, Renegade by Jay-Z and Eminem is one of the greatest. Or, 50 Cent and Eminem, Patiently Waiting. And Eminem is just the truth. Eminem is just the
He's up
truth.
there.
And
Definitely.
yeah, so putting him on your track, you gotta be ready to, you just gotta be ready, period. You know what I'm saying? You gotta be ready, period. So, yeah,
Okay. I love it. There's a story behind Renegade, and we'll talk about that later, but true. So my next question, because we're doing legacy questions, is this. If Natasha Beckley got to make her perfect song, who would you have do the song? Do you have any remixes? Do you have any features? And who would do the beat to your perfect song? Oh, and it could be dead or alive. There's no limitation.
Who would make the beat?
Who would make the beat and who would be on your perfect song? Like I said, dead or alive, no limitations.
Oh my God, Timberland?
Timberland. Okay, he does the beat. Is anybody on there with you?
And Missy?
You and Missy.
Yes.
That would be good. I would love to hear that.
I would love to hear it. I want to hear it. Like, she's a legend when it comes to, just, hip hop and women. And there was no song right now. You can listen to Missy right now when you start, moving your head and, moving your body. So I would love to get Missy on something Afro beat and get Timberland to just turn it around. And that is something definitely that I would want to do.
I made this question. I'm sorry, let me cut you off. I made this question specifically for you since you're an international artist.
Okay.
I've heard you rap on beats from the main continent, and I heard you rap on covers from here, like Meek Mill, things like that.
I love him. Mm-hmm.
So, how do the beats hit you differently, and what do they bring out of you differently from each other? I mean.
So the beats here probably will bring out that maybe the Meg Thee Stallion savageness.
Okay.
You could when I listen to beats here, you probably wanna. It makes me want to blend the African American, the African and the American culture. So, but the beats in Africa more just they just mellow me down just a little bit. It just gives you more of a cultural feel, a lifestyle feel, and a dance feel. Because our people just want to they just want to dance. They just want to dance, But, so the American, covers maybe put me more in my bag. When I'm in my bag, like, I start tapping into female rappers that I listen to. Like, it probably brings in the little Kim in there, bring a little Foxy in there, bring a little Nicki in there, who I think is doing phenomenal, you know what I'm saying? So, like, my American features just, make it seem more like that, that African, cultured, bossy American woman. So that's what happens when I listen to American beats.
Love it. That's dope. So now, what's the greatest remix of all time?
So I'm gonna take it back to, I don't know if you're a big fan of Paul Simon.
Okay.
Paul Simon has a song that he remade with Black Mambazo. They are a South African. They stand during the apartheid in South Africa, and then they did Homeless. They redid Homeless, and they redid Diamonds on the Soles of Her Shoes. And that song, like, I just got chills talking about it, because Africa is a continent of, of natural minerals. We have everything in Africa. But then it's like when you see our kids walking on our soil, you see them as just, they're just, barefoot walking on soil. But, they're walking on wealth. They're walking on greatness. So Diamonds on the Soles of Her Shoes by Paul Simon and Black Mambazo, I think, is one of the greatest lyrics of all time. And growing up as a child, my dad played that over and over and over again. Yes. I had to put that back. Yes.
Hey, first time we ever heard Paul Simon on Heritage Hip Hop. That's what's up. Hey, I'm loving it.
Yeah.
hopefully me and you can stay in contact. And the reason why I say that is because I want you to send me the music from Africa. I want to send you some of the people that we support here. So if you really want to do that, that connection, we can get something going on between the two countries where they can go over there, I can interview them over here, we can introduce each other's sound to each other and spread this good music. You see what I'm saying?
I've already saved your number, so I'm just waiting for you to save mine. You late.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it, because I would love to introduce you to some sounds that we have, especially in New Jersey, because the story of hip hop from New Jersey is much different than the mainland culture of hip hop.
I used to stay there.
That's what's up. Shout out to Jersey.
Yeah,
Sicklerville? Oh, you was in South Jersey. Okay, that's cool.
South Jersey. Yeah, South
Yeah,
Jersey.
you have to experience Essex County and Hudson County and Plainfield. we got different identities all over, and I would love to share them with you one day.
So let's stay in communication, and let's see, as COVID is ending by the grace of God, let's continue to, see how best we can work together.
Not a problem. That's what we want. We want to build a global family through Heritage Hip Hop. So now it's time for the final question of the interview. Once again, I thank you for coming on. The councilwoman of the Sierra Leone, the leader of poetic thought and hip hop expression in Sierra Leone, the top MC from Sierra Leone. Once again, Natasha Beckley is here on Heritage Hip Hop, and this is the most important question I ask everybody on their first interview. So you're always welcome to come back when your project drops or anything like that. Okay?
Okay, definitely coming back. Yeah.
Thank you. The most important question I ask is: one day you're not going to walk on this planet anymore. And heaven forbid that happens anytime soon, so we pray to the Most High that your life is abundant, your cup runneth over with blessings, and you're around to see many more of the changes of positivity in life, period. But one day there's going to be a day where you're going to be gone. And through a cataclysmic event, one day there's going to be an earthquake, the ground's going to open up, and somebody's going to walk past this hole, and in this hole they're going to find a magic box called the laptop or the TV, right? Because they don't use those anymore. And in it, you're going to find your music, your videos, your poetry, your policy, maybe even hear stories from your book. And people are going to learn about you 12 generations away from now. My final and most important question to you is, as everything that you are, a woman, an artist, an activist, a politician, a lover of humanity, what is the legacy that you leave behind on this world that made it better? Not only because you live, but because you created and did your art and made it better. What is your legacy?
This is such a beautiful question, and I hope that my legacy is getting people, not only women, children, men, but people from around the world to understand the value of who they are as individuals. We live in a world that is always going to criticize. We live in a world, even your family is going to criticize you. Your friends are not going to support you. But we have to speak life to ourselves first. You have to speak life to yourself. You have to speak life to yourself. So I just hope that my legacy, it encourages people to accept who they are first. Find who I am first as an individual before I start leading to empower, inspire, and motivate others. Self-worth, self-acceptance, self-respect, self-being, not being selfish, but just know who I am as myself. Then I know that I could be anything that I want, because when you're sure of who you are, don't even worry about peer pressure. You could be peer pressured and you don't even know you're going through peer pressure because you already know you're not doing it. You already know that's not even a part of you. So just self-acknowledgement, self-understanding, just love yourself for who you are, and not saying that, loving designers and everything is, no, all of those are things that you can add on, and that's fine. But who you are, don't let anybody break the vessel. Don't let anybody break the temple. This is your temple, and when people say that your body, your temple, It is a fact. Your body, your temple, love the temple before you start letting people come near the temple, worship the temple, or even touching the temple. So you have to have that self-worth, that self-understanding of who you are as an individual. And nothing is going to give you that. Not your education, not your job, not your money, not what you own, not your properties, not your car, not nothing. If you don't love yourself, you see people committing suicide. People commit suicide and they got so much money. And you wonder, you got so much money, what you killing yourself for? Something they never had. They never knew who they were as an individual. So don't go chasing waterfalls or chasing anything when you don't know who you are as an individual. And that's what I would hope my message gives out to people when I'm gone.
Well, everybody out here listening, love yourself enough to give the world your best. And Miss Beckley gives the world her best, not only with her voice, not only with her movement, but with her love for the people and the love for the culture. So once again, we thank her for coming on. Everybody, we say peace. And we out.
Thank you so much. I appreciate this. And thank you guys so much for listening. Until next time.
We thank you once again for joining us on Heritage Hip Hop Podcast to hear from your future favorite artists being introduced to you right now in the today. And today, Natasha Beckley has hit your hearts, we hope, and giving you hope for the message and the music that's coming out in the future. Her wanting to represent her nation, her country, her people shows the depth of hip hop, that it's more than just shaking your behind and talking about money and things. It can also be used to establish national pride and to be characteristic of a legacy going forward of believing and doing well and good for others, being a righteous soul that makes music for the betterment of the world. Thank you, Natasha, and may the Most High bless you. And hopefully one day we will be in Freetown to record not only more acts, but to see the love and the beauty of our people in Africa, the motherland, as we called it back in the day. Everybody, thank you for listening to Heritage Hip Hop, and we ask for you to please help us grow Heritage Hip Hop. You can join us at www.heritagehiphop.com, become a subscriber, and we look for new things coming, new playlists. Our award show is coming up. This is our 4th award show where we give awards to people who put out great projects and help move the culture forward. So please join us at www.heritagehiphop.com to hear more podcasts, see more videos, and also our shows, our talk shows, and more. I also ask that you join our other page, Heritage Hip Hop on YouTube, where you can subscribe and hit the notification bell for whenever any videos come out from any artist. We have many playlists highlighting the people that we have had on the platform, and we have more to come. This episode is brought to you by Transparent Credit Repair, the superheroes of the financial literacy and credit repair world. If you're looking to open your wallet to receive money rather than pay bills, fixing your credit will be a major help to you. You can contact them at www.transparentcreditrepair.com, or you can call them at 862-250-5122. Before we get out of here, we would like to ask everyone, please support the team that supports you, which is Heritage Hip Hop. We have a store. It is at the website www.storefrontier.com/heritage hip hop. You can support us by buying some apparel and wearing some of our classic shirts. We have the Jersey Hip Hop shirt and the Heritage Hip Hop Jersey logo, which is there now, representing our home state of New Jersey. We'd like to give a shout out to our team, our virtual assistant. You can find him on Instagram at Faddy's Place, FADDYSPLACE. Our marketing and promotion person, Mr. Fire Jaws, you can find him at FIREJAWS. He's the owner of Wildfire Marketing. If you're looking to promote and place your product, please contact him. Also, some of our talent behind the scenes, we have Lex Diamonds of Diamonds Entertainment LLC, that's DIEMENZ Entertainment LLC on Instagram, and Adiyar of The Big A Show, which is on YouTube at AHDAYAR. Adiyar, that's right. Season 2 is coming. I am the co-host of that show. That show is crazy. And if you want to see how crazy it is, follow Adiyar on YouTube. Once again, we're looking to bring the future of the culture to the now. And we celebrate the veterans as well. So you could go on Heritage Hip Hop and see our interviews with Tretch, Do It All, and hear our podcast with Billy Dance, Cassidy, and more. We celebrate the total hip-hop culture, not just today and not just yesterday. We always represent the now, and the now represents the past, present, and future. And right now in today's world, we have a lot of turbulence and some things going on. So we ask everybody in the world who's fighting against COVID, social injustice, and making a stand for people's rights and equality. Be safe, stand strong, and believe that the Most High got your back. And no matter what happens, it will be in righteous detail and design. So with that being said, everybody stay safe, stay healthy, stay strong, and we say peace, and we out.